Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for making the time for today's Your Personal Budget webinar. This is another in our ongoing series of complimentary education webinars that we will be regularly providing free for both clients and non-clients alike. Look out for others. We aim to produce and present one a month. For those that don't know me, my name is Jim Bell. I'm the director at JBA. As I'm always keen to get this information out to you as soon as I can, and with my other team members usually doing some other urgent work for clients, I've decided to present this and future webinars without moderator support. So please bear with me if things go astray. Hopefully there'll be a time for questions at the end of the webinar, and if for some reason I can't get to them, please send me any by email and I'll get back to you with answers in the next day or so. In fact, I will make time for questions at the end of the webinar. My email address and phone number should you need it. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the webinar environment, these are the Zoom settings. Let's take a closer look at the webinar controls. Select audio settings to select and test your speakers. Submit questions via the Q&A button. I'll answer your questions at the end of the webinar. Click Leave Meeting if you need to leave at any time. All attendees will receive a follow-up email after the webinar, perhaps tomorrow, and we'd love your feedback, whether or not you left early. Can somebody please put up their hand with the hand button to let me know that you can hear what I'm saying? Doesn't look like anyone can hear what I'm saying. Thank you very much. Well done. Thank you. Another webinar where I've had a nervous few seconds wait. I'm sure you guys do it purposely to see if I can handle the stress. Once again, thanks everyone for making time to listen to this important webinar. We appreciate that these are unprecedented times and with great uncertainty, especially since the resurgence of COVID in the community and the recent level changes both up and back down. Many of you by now are aware that our core purpose at JBA is for us to help our clients achieve their business potential so that they can live the lifestyle they want to. That includes not only offering clients an efficient compliance service, reducing taxes and getting tax returns filed on time, but also offering clients tried and proven strategies to improve their businesses, or in these uncertain times, strategies to simply keep their businesses going, with a view to business growth when the tunnel of COVID ends. These regular complimentary educational webinar offerings are part of those strategies. Before we get stuck in, I just want to throw in our usual disclaimer that the information in this educational webinar is general in nature and no substitute for tailored advice specific to your particular circumstances. Hopefully that'll keep the lawyers happy. Have a think about our thoughts for the day. It is critical that kids start to learn the value of money, short-term and long-term savings, and budgeting at an early age. Some of us were never taught these things as kids, but it's not too late to learn, and that's why we're here today. This pandemic has certainly highlighted some gaps in the business community's financial awareness skills. The best place to start in terms of growing these skills is with ourselves, and therefore passing this information on to our children. I think we can all agree on that. Sometimes as accountants, we tend to focus more on business budgets and forecasts and not so much on the personal budgeting aspects of financial management. But we get a lot of questions from clients about their personal spending along the lines of, did I really spend that much last year? Good financial awareness skills start with having a personal budget. The principles we will go through today are true for non-self-employed, like wage and salary earners, as well as the self-employed. Today, we're going to cover understanding what we mean by personal budgeting, the obvious, as well as the quite unexpected benefits of having a personal budget, the key elements of your personal budget, how to complete your personal budget using our free template, which we'll make available at the end of the session or perhaps tomorrow as a self-help option for you. How to create an accountability structure so that you stick to your budget as much as is possible. Your next steps to take as a result of this webinar, the support we can offer you, especially those that don't want to go it alone. And of course, you can send your questions in as you go. We'll try and answer those at the end of the webinar. What is a personal budget? A personal budget is a finance plan that allocates future personal income towards expenses, savings, and debt repayment. Notice we're talking personal income now, nothing to do with business. This is a very important definition because it makes three important distinctions. Firstly, this is a personal budget. Its purpose and form is quite different to the budget you create for your business. Secondly, your personal budget is not just something you create and then tuck in a bottom drawer. It's an actionable plan that, if followed, will help you achieve financial and lifestyle goals. And lastly, your personal budget is forward-facing for a 12-month period and is broken down into months. It allocates your future personal income, including wages and salaries, drawings from your business, dividends, towards personal expenses, savings, investments, and the reduction of personal debt. Put simply, a personal budget is a plan that lays out how you will spend and save your money. There are many benefits of having a personal budget. Some of these are obvious and are financially focused. Others are focused on reducing stress and improving communication with your significant others. The value in having more control over your financial future cannot be underestimated. Focusing on your budget brings your focus to something you can have real control over. As I said at the beginning of this session, personal budgeting helps you focus on your money goals and creates a better awareness of where your money is going. A common comment we get from clients when they look at their annual accounts and see their personal drawings figure is, we can't possibly have spent that much money last year. If you've ever thought this, don't worry, you're in very good company. This is a sure sign that by spending just half an hour each month drilling down into your personal spending, you'll have greater awareness of where your money is actually going. Having money goals and an awareness of how much money you are spending and on what creates better money habits, which in turn helps create and manage debt levels better. This enables you to achieve your wealth goals. A personal budget also acts as an early warning system because you can anticipate upcoming costs. Also, having a budget is really important in respect to your relationship with your significant other. According to the marriage guidance experts, money conflict is in the top 3 most common argument topics, along with parenting and sex. The last 2 being subjects off my professional radar for obvious reasons. At the end of the day, if you have a budget and you use it as one of your wealth creation tools, you will end up with more money and arguably less conflict and stress. So, if having a personal budget is such a smart thing to do, then why aren't we all doing it? Here are the top 7 reasons why so many of us don't have a personal budget. Setting up your annual personal budget and reviewing your progress each month is not a time-consuming process. personal budgeting, or reasons why people don't have personal budgets, listed here. It's extra work to set up a monitor. They hear the word budget and think bread and water. They don't know how to prepare one. Fear of putting the subject of money on the table, fear of what you'll find, pride, I don't need one, and laziness. There's some simple things you can do to make things easy on yourself. Firstly, make sure all your personal spending comes from one bank account or one credit card, and try not to pay personal expenses out of your business bank accounts. That way, you'll only have one spending source that you'll have to track. Secondly, get hold of a simple budget template to take the work out of setting one up. We'll provide you with a free, very simple template at the end of the session. And in fact, we'll work some examples through with that same template during the session. But as an alternative, you can subscribe to budgeting apps such as Wally or Good Budget. You could even go one step further and join a specialist personal budgeting coaching program, although this step isn't for everybody. Many people don't like the limits they feel a budget will place on them. Think of it though as a spending plan instead of a budget. It should be the exact opposite of confining. It's liberating because it results in guilt-free spending, because you know other dollars are already allocated to your expenses. You'll no longer have to fear you might run out of money before the end of the month. If your problem is simply that you don't know where to start, then a simple budgeting tool and some online training is the solution. There is no doubt that money can be a cause of conflict in a household. The simple fact prevents many couples from even talking about budgeting. But conflict around money doesn't resolve itself. A personal budget is one simple step you can take towards a healthier relationship with money. I completely acknowledge budgeting can be scary at first. You may not want to find out the cost of your coffee. But sticking your head in the sand isn't the answer. Knowledge is power. It's healthier to deal with the truth and move on positively. Pride is an issue for some of us, but don't let your financial future be harmed because of your preconceived notion about who needs a spending plan. We all do. No matter how much you earn, from people on benefits right through to multimillionaires, we all need a spending plan. I totally understand how easy it is to let budgeting slide. Even yours truly can be guilty of that from time to time. Watching a movie sounds much more fun than doing the budget. Set a monthly calendar reminder to spend half an hour each month reviewing your budget and actual spending. Understanding the benefits and building the habit are keys. If you get into the habit, set that reminder, nail it each month, you're well on your way. The first step in personal budgeting is to set up your 12-month personal budget with income and expenses broken down on a monthly basis. This can be done in an Excel spreadsheet, or by using one of the many personal budgeting apps, or by using the budget template we'll make available to you. First, you enter your monthly income. Next, enter your expenses, everything line by line within categories, so that you can see your monthly spend for each category. Seeing how much of your income needs to be allocated towards food, for example, can be very empowering. You can sometimes find with some balancing and savings that there's more money available for the toys and lifestyle aspects to your life. It's likely you'll have a good understanding of your monthly income from drawings from your business or your salary or wages, and perhaps a bit of rental income. However, you might not fully understand the extent of what you're spending each month. To get a better idea of how much you're spending and what you're spending it on, it's a good idea to start by analysing your personal bank accounts and credit cards. Be prepared for a shock in some categories. If you would prefer to budget on a forward-facing basis, be sure to include big-ticket items such as insurances, rates, school or university fees in the months which they normally fall due. When budgeting your debt repayments, this is your opportunity to plan for increases or, if necessary, decreases according to cash surpluses and your wealth creation plan. Your personal budget goals may be to accumulate sufficient cash or sufficient cash surplus to invest further in your business or other investments. Or it may be a mixture of that and more personal spending like holidays. This is your personal budget and it needs to reflect your overarching family goals. No two persons' budget will be the same. This is our personal budget template. This is the one that we'll provide all of you today. It's really simple and easy to use, so I'll quickly run through parts of it using some fake data. So bear with me while I get onto that next screen. Hopefully this is now showing a budget which says 31st of March 2021. Firstly, you select the year ending date. For example, if we want our budget to start in September, select the year ending 31st October. Drop down box, October. There we go. Then you'll enter your name, Bill Blogs, and begin the budget. This takes you to the first input field, monthly income. The next step is to enter your monthly income. The fastest way to do this is to select the payment frequency from the drop down and enter the appropriate amount. Let's say that we receive income from two sources. Firstly, will you say we receive $10,000 each month in drawings from our business. So we'll go to the business drawings, drop down box, monthly, come across to the amount, 10,000, hit enter, and the whole year populates because we've used monthly. Let's say we also anticipate receiving a dividend from the business, $6,000 in November and in May. So we'll come down to dividend and we will put this in manual because it's not monthly, weekly, fortnightly or annually. So we'll say 6,000 in November, 6,000 in May. You get the idea. We've got income accruing, monthly income across the board. And we're showing above that our cash surplus and our cumulative, 16,000 to start, 10 for the next month, 26,000, 10 for next month, 36, going onwards, 16,000 in May, 82, etc. Next, we'll enter our planned expenses, and they're listed in 9 categories. Down here, household, food, apparel, children, medical, insurance, transport, lifestyle, debt repayments. Let's start with our household expenses. Once again, the fastest way to do this is to select the payment frequency from the drop-down box and enter the appropriate amount. I'll just do a few expenses here to show you more of the functionality. Mortgage interest, let's say that's $1,750 a month. Enter, away we go. Electricity, gas, let's say it's $290 a month. Now, to be fair, during the winter months, we're likely to get higher bills. So I would normally, if I was doing this properly, use the manual drop-down tab. But just for speed, I'm using the monthly to get it across now. Cleaner, let's say $75 per week. Weekly, $75, which becomes $325 per month. So you see it's self-populating based on the data that you put it. Now, if we scroll up, you'll see right at the top of the screen, you'll see our donut graph. From an income point of view, now it doesn't matter about the income level, whether you're in 12,000 a year or 1.2 million a year or more. The principles are the same. The income screen, 91% of our income is from business drawings and 9% in this case from dividends. And of course, there will be different percentages based on the types of input you put. Expenses, similarly, in this case, 100% all coming from household. I didn't use the other 8 categories. Just mathematically, and showing you how it works, annual cash surplus, 132,000 less 28,380 leaves an annual cash surplus of 103,000. We know that's not legitimate, but it just shows how the numbers work and how this works. It will also show you if you are spending more than you're earning. We also have a cash summary line here, monthly and annual, which shows you whether your income is higher or greater than the line amount being break even. So a fairly helpful plan or budget tool to make life fairly straightforward. You can move the monthly one too by moving along here. He says, trying to show off now. Maybe you can't, well, you've got lots of people watching you, but normally you can, oh, here it is. Scroll along here to see monthly what is happening. August, 10,000 in, 2,000 out, 7,000 left. May, 16,000 in, 2,000 out. So you can play around with it to actually get quite detailed. That's your budget. You then have the actual performance. How do you go against budget? Each month you review your budget and enter your actual income in here. And as you enter it in each month, you'll see that not only do you put your actuals in, automatically your budget figures come up and it shows you how you're going compared to budget. So that's on the 3rd tab at the bottom here. If you get stuck, there's instructions on the very first tab. I've missed those purposely just to show you quickly how the document is prepared. You can compare your year-to-date actual with your budget to see if you're on track. If after a few months you feel your original budget isn't realistic, you can go back and make the necessary changes to the personal budget sheet, that one there, for the remaining months. Now let's look at a completed budget just to show you what they look like once they're completely done. I'll try and take you to that screen, so bear with me again. Here we have a completed budget in PDF. You'll see in this instance, again, we've made up numbers. We have an annual income of 99,000, but annual expenses of 106. So we're actually losing, or we don't have enough money coming in. And we can see that with the line going down here. And indeed, we can see where the deficits and what have you are, and we can clearly see those here. Like before, in this example, I used $8,000 per month income, a little bit of interest. I then completed all the expense categories: food, household, apparel, children, sports, hobbies, pocket money, transport. It gets quite detailed. It really does make you think about what you're doing with your money. Lifestyle, grooming, subscriptions, pet costs, gifts, holidays, special occasions, all catered for, to give total and debt repayments, how much you're paying your mortgage, loans, give total expenses, 106,545, we can see there at the very bottom, coming back up to the top, 106,545. So we would know we need to cut back on something, I guess. That's an example of how that one works. There's little point in preparing a personal budget, though, if you don't monitor the progress. That third page, the actuals versus budget. Preparing the budget will be a valuable experience as you'll learn where your money actually goes. For some of us, it's quite a frightening experience. It really is sobering. However, this is only the first step. The enduring value comes from seeing your spending habits improve and having open and comfortable discussions about where money goes and how you're achieving your personal goals. It certainly makes you feel a little while after starting this, a few months after starting this, that you are becoming in control of your money, whereas in the past, perhaps money controlled you. You didn't know really whether you'd have enough or where it was going. But this certainly does bring it right into perspective and puts you in the driver's seat. By monitoring your progress, that gives you the key to track your spending on a monthly basis. For some couples, discussions about spending and budgeting are normal. For others, particularly where money behaviours differ, conversations about money are more tense. In this case, some people may consider engaging an external facilitator to sit down with them to work out their budget and be a non-judgmental sounding board. This can also provide independent accountability. Throughout the process, though, try and have some fun and bring some light to what can be a serious topic. Well, it is a serious topic. That doesn't mean you can't have fun doing it. Celebrate your wins. And yes, your celebration may involve spending some money. A good bottle of champagne, a good bottle of wine, night out to dinner. Or, in my case, another piece of music equipment. Thinking back to our thought of the day, don't hide this from your children. Let them see you set aside time to work out your budget. Make this process normal and lighthearted where you can, not ominous and scary. We know that focusing on personal spending can seem confrontational. You may get worried that your spouse or your accountant will judge your spending. That's really not the focus of setting a personal budget. And from my point of view as a professional accountant, I've seen all sorts of budgets, personal and business, and all sorts of personal expenditure types, and have never been judgmental. It's your life. How you choose to spend your hard-earned cash is your business. It's my role to try and get as much of that cash for you to spend. I'm certainly not judgmental on what you spend. If you happen to want to take your accountant out to lunch, who am I to stop you doing that? Your personal budget is just that. It's personal. It's yours alone. It simply reflects your decisions around how you spend your earnings and how much should be left over for debt reduction, savings, investments, fun. After all, you earn it, your decision how to spend it. So instead of dwelling on the roadblocks, those time, fear, pride things, let's remember to focus on the benefits. Better control, better focus, and better awareness. Improved money habits, achieving your wealth creation goals. Focus on the benefits you seek to gain. Then take the first step of setting your annual personal budget. Use our simple tool, the one that I probably went a little bit too quickly through, but you'll get a copy of it tomorrow. Or choose an app that works for you. Focus on the expenses you can and want to control, and get support from us if you need help or independent accountability. Many of you may recall my saying, and I've said it probably over most of the webinars that we have produced and performed, and I say it frequently in the office, that independent accountability is the glue that sets and gets the results. Remember, the information in this general webinar is general in nature and no substitute for specific tailored advice or support. There are several ways that we can help you more specifically beyond today's webinar. We can carry out a review of the draft annual personal budget that you prepare. We can carry out that review and begin a facilitation of a personal budgeting coaching session. Or we can even instill a coaching program that could be monthly or quarterly. Could even do it 6 monthly, but I think that's a little bit late. A horse is bolted in a lot of instances if you leave it that long. From us to you, the supply of our free personal budget template with an associated guide and video. This is the self-help, no-cost option. And of course, a 1-hour complimentary meeting focusing on the business side of things for clients of our firm. This is the natural go-to from this webinar for those business people, as the business is simply a vehicle to provide you with what you need so that you can live the life you want to live. The non-self-employed, they probably have a scenario where their income is likely to be capped. So their approach is probably more on the expenses side. That said, we are able to look at and review budgets from all angles. Now, this was always going to be a lot quicker than the other webinars we have produced. Hopefully it's a little bit more fun than some of the more dry ones we've had to promulgate over the last few months because of COVID. And we'll try and make as many of the future webinars that we produce and carry out as fun as possible, but from time to time they will be dry depending on the type of depending on the type of subject that needs to be covered, topic that needs to be covered. We've only got the one question come through, but that's okay. I saw in your budget example that the result for the year was expenses higher than income. Does that mean the person needs to fix this? Well, yeah, it does. Obviously, that person needs to increase their income to meet their anticipated expense or outgoings, or needs to reduce their expenses. Interestingly, most people get a shock when they first do this and see where all their coffees or what have you going. It's not about that though. It's not about wasting showing you where you're wasting money. Some money is necessary to be enjoyed in terms of life. It's not all about debt reduction or that sort of thing. You don't have to go to the extent that one of my clients did. He found out that his newspapers were costing him $400 a year, so he cancelled his newspapers. I think that's crazy myself. It's a matter of getting that balance. But certainly if you find that your expenditure is greater than your anticipated income, especially if that income is fixed, you need to just have a look at what is more important to you. It may be that you can actually reduce debt repayment, although we wouldn't normally recommend that, but that's one of the things that is able to be considered when we're looking at reducing outgoings. So, a parting thought for the day. I thought I'd share this quote with you. A budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. Very succinct. I think very true. A personal budget is just that. It's you deciding where you want your money to go. So it's you taking control. Now that has to be a good thing. I know we're a wee bit earlier than the 60 minutes we tend to allow for these things, but like I say, it was always going to be a shorter, and I'm sure people are probably happy about that experience listening to me than the norm. So thanks for making the time to attend the webinar. We do at JBA appreciate that your time is very valuable. We hope we've given you plenty of ideas to ponder and some clear next steps for you and your significant others. Probably tomorrow you should receive a follow-up email from us that we'd love you to provide brief feedback on, so we can continuously improve and get your thoughts on what other topics you'd like to see from us. We can only improve our support of you if we know what you want, as well as what we think you need. Keep a lookout for our ongoing series of complimentary education webinars. As I said at the beginning of this webinar, we will loosely aim to produce and present one a month. There are plenty of places to register for them, from the direct email we send, from the footer on all our emails, from our Facebook page, and from our website, to name a few. I'm sure the topics will be interesting and of use to you and others. Please feel free to invite others who you may think will benefit from attending our webinars. Like I said at the very beginning, they are for clients and non-clients alike. We think the information that we have is worthy of sending out to the general populace. You can on-send the email invitations we send you, or the links, or direct those other people to our website or our Facebook page. Our webinars are for, like I said, clients and non-clients alike, and the more the merrier. But for now, I look forward to presenting to you again soon. There will probably be only a couple before Christmas, believe it or not. There might be 3, but we will we'll see what we can do, and we will make sure that we promote them to you all. For now though, have a great evening. Thanks once again for your time. It's been a pleasure, and we'll no doubt talk to many of you soon.